So a friend of Steve Casey uh, reached out to us who watched some of the videos, and we had sent a couple messages back and forth, and uh, then it reminded me that Steve Casey and Michael Hayes were buddies, and he actually said that I didn't know this that Hayes and Steve Casey were roommates at one
Yeah.
time. Yeah, and but anyways, there you had a good story about Michael Hayes when you were like you were 4, 5?
No, older than that. It was about
Oh.
6, about to be 7.
Oh, okay.
It was in. Remember when Dad came back to do the thing to turn Chris babyface?
Chris Adams.
Yes,
Yeah.
Chris Adams. We were
Sorry.
at the Real Rogers Coliseum. This was in '84. Dad was coming back to do the turn thing with Chris Adams, and I came into the dressing room with Dad, and I just because there was this place in the back of the Real Rogers where the wrestlers' families would always sit. It was like the back row, right near where the guys came out, where both the heels and baby faces came out, because they both came out the same place because the interview session was over at the side. So we get there around 7 o'clock. I go to the dressing room. I see some of the guys that I haven't seen in a while. Because I'm 7, I've been out of the territory for a while. I was in North Carolina. I'm not 7 yet, almost 7, summer of '84. So 6.5, nearly 7. So I'm sitting back there, and to a 6-year-old kid, 10 minutes is like an eternity. So one match goes to the ring, and the next match goes to the ring, and the next match goes to the ring. And you're wondering where Dad is. And I'm wondering where Dad is, because Mom had put it in my head that Dad, could forget anything. I mean, he'd lose his keys, he'd lose his false teeth, he'd lose it. He did lose his false teeth in the backyard. I don't know how he did that. They weren't really false teeth, but it must have been before the plane crash, because they were permanent afterwards. I digress, as this story has. Because Mom had put it in my head, your father could lose anything. So we're 4 matches into this thing, and I'm 6 years old, and Dad still hasn't come back to get me. And so
you're freaking out.
And I'm freaking out a little bit. And I turn to over near where the entryway is to the stairwell to come up to the balcony where I'm at in the arena. And there's Michael Hayes and a Fort Worth police officer. So I run over and say, Michael, is my dad still back there? He goes, yeah, Bubba, he's still back there. He's still back there. So this shows you the logic of a wrestler's kid. There's a cop right there, and I run to a Freebird for reassurance. And then I feel better. And so then I'm sitting there, and then Bill Irwin's out there working with Chris Adams, and the great Skandar Akbar is on the floor. And I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, here comes Dad. And Dad, I don't know how the people recognize him, because he actually had hair from this time. He walks down the aisle, and he goes in there, and he starts whacking Bill, and he whacks Scan, and he's shaking hands with Chris Adams. Like, I didn't even know he was going to do that. Yeah. And then as soon as Dad leaves the ring, he comes back up through the balcony and says, come on, JG, let's go.
No, that's cool.
Now then, there's more to this story.
Okay.
I get back to the dressing room, and there's Gino Hernandez. And the song Sunglasses at Night was hugely popular, because this is somewhere in 1984. Gino dressed to the nines as always, Brioni suit, black jacket, black tie, and has the expensive sunglasses on. And he keeps looking at Dad. He goes, I wear my sunglasses at night. So I'll spare you the rest of the singing. And Dad was like, what does that mean? And he's doing this to Dad. He's like, sunglasses at night. And then he walks off for a few more minutes, and he comes back, and then Dad leaves the building. And then we drive off, and Dad goes, that song, Gino, what does that mean? Because Dad had looked at him. He goes, it's 10 o'clock at night. There's no sun. We're just in the arena, and you're wearing sunglasses. And so he keeps singing the song, and Dad goes, what does that mean? And he just kept, it aggravated the old man, and it was fun for Gino. So